And the reason why is because, like many little girls, when I was a little girl, I spent a lot of time thinking about becoming a spy or a private detective, and I knew that I might someday have to sleep with the enemy, even in the distant future, right? Also, like many little girls, I spent a lot of time thinking about having a ranch full of monkeys and dogs and other rescued creatures, each living in different barns on my future farm. So, in honor of both of those youthful aspirations, I decided to become an animal policy journalist several years ago. I thought that would combine the investigatorial aspect with the puppies. So several years ago, I was living in a large Midwestern state, surrounded by states whose puppy mill industries had been much more strongly regulated, which meant that there were a lot of people who had been convicted of like 2,000 counts of animal cruelty for keeping 2,000 puppies in their backyard in chicken cages, who were welcomed with open arms into this state that I was living in, learning to become a journalist. So there is a burgeoning puppy mill community, and a burgeoning dog auction sprang up to support that industry. So people would drive for like 900 miles with the 2 or 3 semis full of cages stacked with small breeds of dog, breeding females usually, to buy and sell at these auctions. So I was aspiring towards a career that involved lots of undercover investigation. But I'm just blogging at this point, right? So I decided that I should go to one of these dog auctions and do a little investigative piece. There had been other, news crews who'd come from like Philadelphia to this state and been like punched in the camera and thrown out because it's a private place, and there are no reporters allowed, no cell phones allowed. Also, it's run by the Amish community in this state, so they didn't have cell phones or anything like that to begin with. So anyway, so I thought, well, I was kind of excited, but I also thought there's a chance I might really lose it because I really love dogs, and I was afraid that, what I saw might make me cry and that I would blow my cover by showing my soft side. So I decided to bring my then boyfriend for moral support. But I thought both of us needed to look country, because we're going to the middle of the country, Amish country. I thought if we look like people who are living in this bustling metropolis, we'll be just thrown out on our heads, So I tried to dress us in jeans that flared a little bit at the bottom and big puffy. I mean, I don't know how country people dress, but I tried to dress myself that way. And Tim, who is a scowling anarchist with a thick Russian accent, was very difficult to make him look like a Midwesterner, and I don't think we succeeded. Anyway, so we drove about 5 hours across the state to get to this seasonal dog auction in the month of January with no heating, and we got into this place. We were lightly frisked, but we hadn't brought any cell phones, and I hadn't brought any recording equipment, though I looked into it. I thought I'll go once. If they don't frisk me too heavily, maybe I'll go back with one of those cameras that comes out of a button like they used to gather undercover footage and factory farms and stuff like that. But, so we went in, and what we saw was pretty atrocious. There were these semis that had been parked against the loading docks of this place. There were probably what you might imagine. There were stacks of cages with small dogs shivering because they had their curls shorn off so that you couldn't see their bats and all the crap that was in their curls. And it was January 25th, I think, and they were freezing. These were unheated trucks. So we walked up and down these aisles. Our story, if anybody had asked us, was that we were just like a couple driving across the state looking for a dog. We figured that was credible and simple. Why wouldn't we drive 5 hours into the middle of the Amish? So we got in there and looked at these animals, many of whom were deformed in all kinds of ways. A lot of them were breeding females who'd spent 8 years in a cage bearing litters, so they were shaped like little tomatoes with their legs sticking out at all angles because all they had done their whole lives was lie there and give birth. And they were scared, of course. It's time. And so after holding it together and watching this happen, young teenage boys were hired to bring the dogs onto the auction block and to hold them while a veterinarian palpated them all over the place, touched their gums, and then these auctioneers who sat many feet above everybody else with tall top hats and long beards and payas, whatever the English version is, they would announce the dog's physical condition. And we've got slight gum disease here, otherwise perfect shape. And they'd say, we've got a O2 model female here. Who's going to give us $5? $5, O2 model female. Silence. $4. O2 model female, nothing but gum disease. She'll still pop them out for you. Right, so it was upsetting. A lot of these dogs were selling for like $2, $3, $4 because wrap it up. All right, so what I had done, because I couldn't record this, but I had plans to pitch a story to the local Alt Weekly about what I saw, is I brought a sketch pad and pencils, and I tucked them inside my auction album as if I was taking notes. Meanwhile, the whole Amish community was sitting in their bonnets also taking notes. So it was like, okay, wrapping it up. So what happened was I was sitting with my back to the back of the amphitheater and drawing pictures of this auction happening and thinking, here I am, I'm really a spy, I'm really doing it, okay? After an hour, and then the couple next to me stood up on the edge of the bench, and the whole bench flipped up into the air because it turned out I was sitting to the left of the last pair of legs on this bench, and all of my drawings went flying into the air, and I got sent down a flight of stairs. And the whole auction stopped, and thankfully my boyfriend did not try and help me, like rescue me, but he grabbed all of my drawings in one fell swoop. And that is how I got my first animal policy story and how I learned that I am not yet a fully formed spy.